Hello everyone, welcome to another reaction video. My boy SethTheProgrammer posted how Vegeta became the strongest. This is a follow-up to a video he made like a long time ago on how Goku became the strongest. And yeah, let's get into it. We all know Vegeta's like one of them ones, like actually one of them ones. And yeah, let's react to this.
Vegeta is probably the go-to character alongside maybe Piccolo or Gohan when it comes to notably well-written Dragon Ball characters.
Definitely Vegeta's up there. Yeah.
Opinion and outlook. This is usually in the
I
sense
disagree with
that
Gohan.
they are the easiest to understand for the average viewer.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely
in a
with
series
Vegeta.
Full of great characters, it's still an
Definitely.
impressive statement. Akira Toriyama made a world full of character interactions that feel somehow realistic and grounded with a totally chaotic and bizarre world that still
Bubbles.
made Goku feel special. Every little detail from Bulma
This
being
manga's
slightly
so
irritated for no stated reason going to Namek, the small quirks of Trunks and Vegeta's dynamic, Goku's change of heart after learning of his eventual death in the future, the dialogue of the Earthlings like Master Roshi, all of it is very well crafted and just enticing. It's a side of the story outside of the battles and power scaling that just makes you kind of care about these guys, to the point you find it interesting when they
My
just
favorite
drive
anime
around and
slash
talk about
manga
almost anything. Toriyama
series.
originally wrote just flat comedy full of character interactions, so it's no surprise that someone who understands what would be unusual would be a master of writing something more grounded and, well, usual, even within it. But despite all of this, once again, Vegeta stands out to people. There are some
Dragon Ball Z, when
pride,
my favorite
Vegeta
Vegeta transformation was the first time he went on Super Saiyan. After that shit was fire.
That has people low-key rooting for him or making fun of him when his head gets too puffed up. As someone who has talked about Dragon Ball for a living for probably about a decade, I've had to analyze the series way too many times, and you guys really like
Seth, he also got a new logo,
analysis
which is
in
fire.
the meaning of what strength is as a concept within the series, and I'll ask for my breakdown on Vegeta next. I will say something off the bat for you guys. I don't find a lot of the generic pride concepts very interesting. Not at all. Everyone in the comments can bring it up without talking
interesting,
about it,
which is
so
fair.
I probably don't need to. This video will be purely what I actually think the character is going through, and a bit of a deeper level what Vegeta thinks pride is versus what Vegeta's pride actually is. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy.
Forgot the ads, gonna have to skip over those. Oh, we're going by each arc? Nice.
I already went through most of the themes of Dragon Ball Z in my Goku video. Of course, starting
That
off
was
with
5 years
Goku
ago.
and his nature versus
Sheesh.
nurture struggle against Vegeta, with Goku representing nurture and Vegeta representing nature. With Goku then realizing he can't defeat his adversary from the heavens alone and teams up to stop him, with others like Gohan giving into their nature to put him down as well, and so on. This seems like the end. However, for Vegeta, this is the beginning. Vegeta just got done throwing his own teammate away at the slightest inconvenience, and boasts about the importance of being the most powerful in the universe, and the strongest of the Saiyans. And in fact, he's basically declaring his entire character arc. He seems obsessed with numbers, status, and is strangely subscribed to fatalism. In a similar sense as Neji Hyuga from Naruto, Vegeta always seems to talk about how things are, yet his actions completely contradict his words and his thoughts. His entire worldview is defined by the monster, the strongest. He clearly deep down doesn't want to believe what he talks about. And in a way, just what was the strongest anyway? Someone like Goku defeated him. How? For him, the strongest is Frieza. So what Frieza has shown everyone is the way things are. Numbers, how you're born, something that can't be changed. Vegeta was in reality mimicking his own monster. And this is why Frieza oddly favors him. Vegeta was Frieza. He'd kill, he'd destroy worlds, claim he was the strongest. He was a victim of his own conqueror.
Sorry for not talking a lot during this reaction.
True. So while Goku
Just really
and
just
friends
enjoying
defeated
it
him, while
and
it
getting
was humiliating,
all the knowledge
it was
I can.
completely eye-opening for him, and set
I
his
always
entire
love to
world
hear a new
free, inspiring him
perspective
to immediately
on Dragon
test
Ball
the
Z.
validity of his original worldview of the strongest, and then try to claim it for himself with his new
He actually never had a green scouter in the anime, which is crazy.
Strategies, the ability to sense power without
I
a
don't believe
gadget
so.
on his face, the ability to suppress your power, power being a symbol of status in his old world, and the ability to work
I never
with
read
those
the
that should
manga
be your
colored,
enemies
that's why.
to challenge the strongest. He was already breaking free from Frieza's influence, piece by piece, action by action, free from the strongest, free from being controlled, free from being hurt. This newfound freedom allowed him to challenge the old ways. What he would normally accept as the end, or the way things were for years, he now would no longer. At first, he destroys Kui, the embodiment of himself, before he was set free, his
Vegeta, he was on a straight terror.
past, and then he challenges Doria and Zarbon, Frieza's right-hand men that knew Frieza personally. He easily defeats Dodoria and later learns Zarbon knows more about Frieza than Vegeta did, and transforms. And Vegeta learns his new lessons. He won't submit to fate in the way things are, even through hardship. He gets back up and challenges Zarbon again and obliterates him in a rematch he never would have even attempted before his journey to Earth. At this rate, his freedom not only unlocked his spirit, but his power, as it gradually increased into territories that Saiyans aren't even known for in the words of the Ginyu Force. But Vegeta, even using the strategies of the Earthlings, while he went far, still hits a roadblock, and he can't surpass the Ginyu Force entirely, which is the pinnacle or the embodiment of Frieza's society. Then Goku returns, seemingly humiliating him again as he destroys the Ginyu Force piece by piece easily. But how?
She was so
what
fucking
does Goku
raw.
know? What does that lowlife know now that I don't? It doesn't make any sense. The audience knows that Goku is unknowingly giving into his nature and his nurture on his way to Namek, as explained by the narrator.
Except in the fucking Saiyan genes, actually fucking abusing it.
Even capable of. And even Captain Ginyu acknowledges this. Captain Ginyu says he must not be a complete Super Saiyan right now, and this is true, as Goku is still unconscious of his identity, as we went over in the previous video. Vegeta obviously surpasses some of the Ginyu Force members because of his unconscious training.
Only bum-ass gold,
growing
though.
Stronger from fighting and recovering. This then leads us into the first philosophical conflict between Goku and Vegeta that both have to learn from. Should you spare these guys? They're warriors, they'll come for you one day. And Goku and Vegeta are constantly learning from each other and combining each other's philosophies, but both are still doing it unconsciously. They both needed each other in ways they didn't know. Vegeta was too harsh, and he wouldn't even have spared himself in his own situation on Earth. And Goku will let the wrong guys keep
Straight
walking
savage.
away and getting too many people hurt. If Vegeta didn't destroy the Ginyu Force there for Goku, who knows what would have happened. But he's still Frieza's protege, as Frieza would do the same as Vegeta, just like Frieza ends up doing to him in the end. Of course, Vegeta never has the time to combine his nature and his nurture together with what he's learned, but he does one thing for the first time. He throws away his society, or his fatalism, by calling Goku to defeat Frieza. This may seem like a desperate remark at first, but on a deeper level, he is wishing that Goku's way is right, and that his is wrong. He deep down hopes that elite Saiyan bullshit is really just that, some bullshit. He wants the Earthlings to be correct, and on a physical and a spiritual level, even if he dies in the process and gains nothing from it personally. This realization, and Goku finally giving into his Saiyan nature and his Earthling nurture, allows him to eventually become a Super Saiyan and put Frieza down, eventually being forced to adhere to Vegeta's lessons at the end and put Frieza down for good.
Arc by arc, is there Android slash cell? Cell Saga.
Well, Frieza doesn't die here. As a fun fact, in the future timeline of Trunks, Goku actually kills Frieza and King Cold.
A bunch of people actually don't even know that.
If Trunks didn't arrive, showing he does fully adopt Vegeta's lesson into his being. The introduction of Trunks and Super Saiyan Goku causes Vegeta's crosshairs to shift. The strongest, the thing that controlled him or makes him unfree, was it actually gone? Frieza is dead, right? No. Now it's Goku and Trunks. Now it's the androids. He must surpass them, or else the past can and will repeat itself. Interestingly, he is kind of right, as the androids, the strongest, would destroy everything once again in Vegeta's life. So he had to change. This causes Vegeta to train his brains out to a degree that causes him to nurture his own power and nature to become a Super Saiyan. His pure-hearted desire to not let his life be destroyed or controlled once again. Interestingly, Frieza also gets a golden super form when he does this as well. So it's a pretty consistent theme for pretty much every character in the show. Things change for Vegeta though when he realizes he can't stop this new monster on his own, even as a Super Saiyan.
You know what's crazy? I always been told Frieza picked the golden form to remind, like, because let me rephrase this. He picked the golden form because that was the color of the Super Saiyan, which, you know, defeated him. But I never heard that anywhere. I need to look that up after this video, because actually I never heard of that ever.
Saiyan was an almost mythical religious symbol for Saiyans in the Daizenshu, and that represented an almost Saiyan messiah that can save their people or destroy their enemies. And Vegeta was just now realizing the limits of that, as he has to learn the hard way just as Goku does. It's not about just one guy becoming the main character and soloing all the bad guys. It's about them all coming together despite their differences, which is actually how the Super Saiyan legend was actually born to begin with, which we learn in Battle of Gods.
Facts.
Albeit they don't actually know this. Vegeta then learns that Trunks is his son, and something new brews within him, as he realizes his son now is being tormented by his own monsters he can't control. So Vegeta wants to be the one to save him from them deep down. He wants to show Trunks that he can do it and how to do it. This desire to help someone other than himself, and to even propel his son despite only focusing mainly on his own strength personally, caused him to ascend beyond a Super Saiyan. But something about Goku and Gohan during this arc is different. Goku didn't just care about his strength, he genuinely cared about his friends, his allies.
And as we know in Dragon Ball Z, you get way stronger when you actually train with someone than by yourself. That's a fun fact for y'all if y'all didn't know.
And wanted to raise them up and for them to be strong. He really wanted to help his son and believes in him. While Vegeta somewhat cared and wanted to be the strong dad to beat up his son's bullies, Goku finds inner peace in his strength and in his role in life, and believed in Gohan instead to face his own problems, which alongside everyone else allowed Gohan to actually become the strongest out of everyone. Even stronger than his own monster.
Young Goat.
Something Goku
That boy
dies
prime way too
believing.
early.
This demonstration blows Vegeta out of the water to the point he completely wants to quit being a fighter. He's always some type of step behind. As the years went on, he snaps out of it, believe he could become far more powerful, love his family like Goku did, and so on. But something was still missing. He was still focused on the monster. How can I defeat it? How do I become better? Goku is now the strongest, and the strongest is the monster. And the monster must be destroyed.
I am a Saiyan, a warrior elite, and the last face you'll ever see.
The Majin Buu arc is extremely important for Vegeta, more so than pretty much every other character.
True. This is
In
where
fact,
he
it wouldn't
really.
be far-fetched to say that it's actually mainly about him. While Gohan, Goten, Trunks, Goku, and the others exist in this arc and obviously undergo some
So where the
struggle
big
and growth,
shift came
Vegeta's can't be
for
ignored.
Vegeta.
Goku and Gohan mastered themselves, worked together with their friends, defeated Cell, which was the amalgamation of the past. And while Goku had some slight quirks, like still focusing on who's going to be the main character to stop the evil guy next time syndrome, which is completed around the fight with Buhan and Kid Buu, Vegeta still has too many contradictions going on. On one hand, he desires the Earthlings to be correct, that the strongest can be challenged, that things can change. But on another, it feels like it contradicts everything he's ever known, whether it be the likes of Frieza, King Cold, or even Beerus and his father, the androids. It's always been something to put him down. Goku not only represents the challenge to his worldview, but also the enemy of it, being both a contradiction to it and the thing he strives to destroy. But following in his footsteps also causes him to desire peace. So, what should he? This is when Dabura and Babidi are introduced, and it is not really too hidden from the viewer that Dabura is the king of the demons. Babidi as well, you'll notice, is sort of a classical Satan model, where he himself is rather unimposing, but his strength and influence comes about through a form of whisperings. He represents something that exaggerates and brings forth evil people stow away within themselves, offering them power in exchange for basically their soul. Even Majin Buu, we would later learn from Toriyama, was a sort of primordial being named the Buu that was corrupted by all of the evils of mortals, which may be partly why Babidi claims he created him, being the embodiment of evil itself. So the demons target Vegeta, whisper in his ear, and the contradictions come flowing out to challenge Goku, resulting in Majin Vegeta versus Goku. A Majin Vegeta that didn't even believe that Goku should be the strongest, but was. That he could overcome his own fate. This conflict resonates with Goku, and it's a raw and pure desire for control and strength that Goku understands, even causing Goku to turn on the Supreme Kai for his feud to play out. This allows Vegeta to fight as his equal, as someone who could surpass even Gohan and Cell from long ago. Of course, we learn that Goku is holding back things about himself, and he has done deep introspection into his being, and has more to offer than Vegeta
is holding
actually
way
currently
back.
thought about. As Vegeta and his goals are clouded and unsure, trying to tap into that same raw emotion and desire to change things like Gohan does against Cell. But Goku has already mastered himself and his role in life, finding an almost otherworldly divine peace within himself. While his wisdom is still misdirected, he has gone deeper into things than Vegeta will and can control all of it. This is what gives Goku the desire to want to fulfill Vegeta's wish, as this will allow Vegeta to grow in the end if his trauma and conflict
Goku's
don't
W man's for
inhibit him.
real.
This fits nicely with Goku's current character trajectory for the end of Dragon Ball, where he's less focused on being the strongest guy around and more on what is the strongest, raising up others and so forth. So, Vegeta, someone who is desperately struggling with this concept, is someone Goku would actually like to help through his barrier in life, even though it isn't directly commented on. It's later revealed to Goku, after Vegeta and Goku clash on an equal level, that Vegeta surrendered his body to Babidi to gain power on par with Goku, throwing his pride away in the process. In hindsight, we know Goku was lying to Vegeta here, saying they were equals, but we also know through some analysis that he wanted to give Vegeta closure on his traumas and his issues, and a multitude of other reasons. It's a long-standing debate, but this is one of the more interesting things about Vegeta's pride. As the viewer of this video, you may notice, his pride is almost never important enough to actually suppress his real goal, his traumas and his battle against the monster, the strongest, with his pride almost always being a type of cover-up for this. And while he certainly is a prideful dude, it is more akin to a surface-level demonstration, which I'll go over soon. After pretty much stalemating, Goku calls out to Vegeta that he knows that Majin Buu is coming, and that Supreme Kai was not joking or exaggerating about his strength. Majin Buu is the real deal. And that's once again when Vegeta's target immediately shifts. This is his chance to destroy it. And Vegeta knows Goku's weakness. Despite it not being something ever really shown in the series too much, especially to Vegeta, he knows Goku is a softie that spares anybody and that he can take Goku down. Vegeta wants to embody the old ways of people that would have destroyed Goku in this situation that he warned him about on Namek. And this allows Vegeta to dispatch of Goku and fly off to face Majin Buu by himself. Interestingly, Frieza is also aware of this quality of Goku. Once again, these are likely philosophies and ideas.
I would have loved to see an 8-2v1 with like Goku and Vegeta versus Buu.
Majin Buu, Vegeta mimics many of those that he respected as the strongest. He mimics the stances and iconography
as Gohan's stance,
and even sacrifices himself to find a selfless peace like Goku. While his sacrifice doesn't stop Majin Buu, just like Goku's didn't stop Cell, we as the viewers know that this was Vegeta burning away the old
and this
self,
was his big turning point,
reaching a selfless level of strength, which is something he actually needed to catch up to Goku. Vegeta still has many flaws after this, but this opens his eyes and he's quite literally reborn, and he's now able to fight on par with Goku Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 2 without his Majin trauma powers anymore. And while he hasn't had the time to dive deep into his being, he has truly grown as a warrior already. Against Buhan, we see Goku's attempts at making a successor, or a Jiren, fall flat. And Goku and Vegeta have to face off against Goku's successors, all wrapped up in one evil package. This is when Vegeta decides to work with Goku for the first time. The movies and other things actually tend to spoil this moment a bit, but this is actually the first time in the mainline canon that Vegeta actually works alongside Goku, and this perfect unison of one's contradictory ideas for the greater good of Trunks, Goten, Gohan, Bulma, Piccolo, and everyone else is visually represented to us with Vegeta. While Buhan was the embodiment of the successors, that Jiren-like entity that has all of the potential, all of the talent, all of the power put into one guy, Vegeta represented Goku and Vegeta finally putting aside their differences to actually work together. And together, they would become the undisputed strongest force in the series. Stronger than pretty much everyone else put together. That real power of trust. Vegeta tosses aside his old self to merge with his pretty much antithesis to face the evil that plagues their entire reality. Using Vegeta's brain himself, Vegeta uses Buhan's attempts to catch him off guard against him, something he used to defeat Goku just moments earlier, and removes everyone from his body to reveal Kid Buu once again. Kid Buu, the pure evil incarnate aspect of Buu from earlier. And this will be the final battle of the strongest. While I won't comment too much on Daima, one thing I did like is that shortly after the Buu
I watched this one time. I definitely have to watch it again,
which makes a lot of sense. For this video, we will be going over Super instead of Daima, and I won't debate about canonicity or whatever, nor do I care to, but that's the Dragon Ball Z portion of his character, basically the mainstream of his growth and points involved, And while Vegeta doesn't have to necessarily work on anything at this point forward, he technically can and does, while Goku learns a bit more about who he is and so forth. Vegeta has much to do to truly be Goku's equal realistically. Goku is always a free and creative spirit, uninhibited by his ego, would humble himself to learn as much as possible, had a bunch of mentors, a bunch of techniques, and Vegeta not only needs to learn more, but also strangely needs to sort of atone in his own being and worldview. In the Buu arc, he would have just straight up gone to hell, and in Fusion Reborn, he's literally there. So he needs more training, he needs to humble himself to learn from others, learn from his enemies, but to not agree with them, realize how his mind works and why he fights like he does, and of course, Vegeta's eventual confrontation again with not only Frieza, but Beerus as well. The two that turned him into the man he was throughout all of Dragon Ball Z. But most importantly, is Vegeta's next battle against not only the people of the past, but his own regrets. Throughout the start of Super, we see many of Vegeta's developments in Z get thrown right on screen. He humbles himself to Whis to train to reach the level of the gods. He gives up his pride to protect his family. He isn't scared to defend them against even the
We're going to talk about the anime or the manga continuity?
Just 2 arcs ago, he could care less if Bulma and his own child blew up right in front of him. Then Frieza returns, and instead of tweaking out, crying at the eyes, and punching Frieza's dead body like those Facebook slop images back in the day,
this is a certified hood classic.
Very composed and calculated, defeating Frieza and knowing to take him out before he goes too far. Some may ask why Vegeta's reaction to Frieza was so tame in this scenario, and the honest reason is because Vegeta has already overcome the monster. He already overcame the bulk of those types of traumas during the Buu saga, and he knows what the real strongest is and follows that now.
That makes a bunch of sense.
At this point, after fusing with Goku and working together with him, that Vegeta makes the speech, "You are number one," with a smile on his face. And I think now that you've heard the video, you start to see it less as a rivalry and more of something deeper. A true acceptance of the good in Vegeta's life, and a true acceptance of what the strongest really is. But Goku himself doesn't seem to actually grasp it as much as Vegeta does, and Vegeta, knowing full well now the answers, recommends that everyone comes together with the Spirit Bomb and destroys the evil of their universe for good, and Majin Buu is destroyed.
Hey, what's Super?
Frieza is sort of another strong alien at this point. However, Frieza is more unhinged than Vegeta remembers, and blows up Earth immediately instead of even allowing the chance of another defeat to happen, killing them all, forcing Goku and Whis to work together to prevent this from happening. In terms of the story though, you may ask yourself, why couldn't Toriyama let Vegeta just get the win over him for once?
Facts.
And the reason is that it's somewhat of foreshadowing you may not actually expect. And it's actually foreshadowing that happens twice in Dragon Ball Super. While Vegeta has outgrown the past, he hasn't really confronted all of it yet. And it's still a part of him, causing him to hesitate a lot more than he'd like to think. And that's why even the Vegeta who would have stomped on Burger's neck fast and light has to yap to Frieza's face, despite having the intent to kill him. Something sour still lurked there, and Vegeta still considers himself a part of the past. Dragon Ball Super is all about the things that cause hesitation or slight variations in your being, and really diving into yourself. And with Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, and so forth, and this is Vegeta's moment of hesitation.
That's actually fucking insane that he put it like that.
How he never really was able to guide the Saiyans, and he does this immediately with Kaba. In fact, he puts so much effort into helping Kaba and the Saiyans grow more powerful in Universe 6 that in the manga, it pretty much directly is the cause of his ass beating by Hit. Vegeta has had the Cell and Buu arcs to really develop this mindset, and Goku has really helped him with this as well, with this mentor type role. We'll go over most of his regrets mainly in the Moro and Granola arcs, but there are other regrets Vegeta has too. And the first big one is immediately confronted in the Goku Black arc, his failure with future Trunks. As a wiser man and a better father, Vegeta realizes that Trunks is still dealing with that monster plaguing his world. And now he has another opportunity to make things right. And instead of focusing just on himself this time, he focuses on Trunks and works alongside Goku to get things done. Goku Black is also the perfect villain for Vegeta, and I can't stress this enough, as he is the embodiment of how Vegeta felt about Goku throughout all of Z. And while Goku was obviously, to the viewer, not as evil, pompous, or undeserving of his strength, it's the idea of this strongest Goku that Trunks also has to confront just like his father. But this time, he's actually a bad guy. Even the qualities of being undeserving of his power, that inherent pompousness, it's all something Vegeta felt about Goku in the past, and he even describes it at multiple points. Goku Black has even confirmed the most powerful fighter multiple times in director interviews and so on, just for this one plot line that most people miss. And it also gives Vegeta time to show what he actually respects and acknowledges about the real Goku, and how he's grown past that old trauma. As a reminder, Vegeta used to have nightmares about Goku and Trunks because they were so strong and both had become Super Saiyans, and now he is fighting to defend them and acknowledging them, joining them instead. After Vegeta harnesses his anger in a way that causes Goku Black to have to become a cheat character,
manga's way better than the anime.
And to absolve his failure against Cell
The Dragon Ball
Trunks,
Super is so
Vegeta
shit.
obviously
The manga's
is forced to
way
work
better.
with Goku to unveil his strongest self, the fusion. But even that isn't enough to put this enemy down, as Vegeta is forgetting that he needs to let his son handle this. His failure to take down his son's monster, and to watch on the sidelines like before. This time, it can be different. He doesn't just have to be in the way. Trunks then taps in and gathers everyone's energy and obliterates Fusion Zamasu. You'll notice here that Vegeta was immediately willing to give Trunks his energy once he realized what was happening, whereas shortly later when Goku faces Jiren, he could actually just care less. Of course, Zamasu lives, and there's some Sun Wukong don't rely on the gods plotline with Zeno then destroying the world, and it's all very lame. I don't care about it. And I said it last time, but Vegeta has finally then raised and is acknowledged by future Trunks before he sets off into his own world with Whis to start as a protector, and we never hear of him struggling again. Fingers crossed. The second of Vegeta's regrets is finally absolved. Many things that would have tormented Vegeta, he has now overcome. Vegeta in the past would have mentally imploded at the thought of Goku tormenting his son, Frieza returning stronger than all of them, and Beerus casually visiting his world, but let's see how he deals with his next regret. The Tournament of Power is an interesting dilemma for the cast, and it allows them to explore alternate universes entirely where the meaning of things like strength is completely different. It's a setting where even Frieza getting punked on by Jiren isn't really the same type of ego buster it would be to say to lose someone from his own universe. It's almost like seeing what type of beings can even exist in multiple different forms and ways, and how they all have to react to the idea of their realities being annihilated. In a way, it forces each universe to treat each enemy contestant as the main villain of their stories. Goku even actually LARPs about this, playing into the role at the start of the arc in the anime to bring out that do-or-die hero nature of the enemy combatants and see their true strength, to see what they would do in shoes he's had to fill before. As we went over in the Goku video, Jiren is a representation of what Goku thought he wanted to be, and what he wanted others to be. That the overwhelming, strong main character that can protect everyone. For Vegeta though, this tournament isn't the same. His focus is a bit different after the Goku Black arc. While Vegeta definitely learned his lesson from the Android arc and could confront his regrets with Trunks, a new one seemingly developed. Both he and Goku had to rely on these very unhinged gods, and it ruins everything. They had to rely on a cop-out. They couldn't dismantle Zamasu before them, even when they did everything correct. That powerlessness, while not a character flaw, showed a limit to Vegeta's own soul, and that he had much more to learn and confront. During the tournament, Vegeta is a typical team player, something he already had picked up on Namek and mastered throughout the Black arc. Raising the Saiyans, helping out, and letting the team grow and help when it was necessary, like in the finale against Jiren. Vegeta also confronts his past again and promises to protect the Saiyans, and shows a true pride in his race for the first time, something that seemed superficial throughout the entire series. This evolution to genuinely wanting to just protect even other universes from the bottom of his heart allows him to reach Goku's level as an equal in his own way, with Super Saiyan Blue evolution. While Goku is a hero, he is a bit less conscious of it, less spiritually inclined for it, which is what is tackled in the Moro arc very heavily, whereas Vegeta still hasn't learned many things Goku has, which he also tackles in the Moro arc later. So here, while they are missing the opposite side of each other's puzzles, they reach a similar level, but Goku realistically still has more going on, and it isn't bound by his regrets, hence Ultra Instinct Omen coming to the surface. However, as you guys can probably tell, this leads to the regret of becoming Majin Vegeta. Vegeta has now reached Goku's level without needing to sacrifice himself. If anything, he found a more real side of himself than before. A real pride of the Saiyans, and not some self-fluffing ego fueled by trauma, which causes him to confront Toppo, who then sacrifices everything he has for strength. During this battle, Toppo actually points out the regret theme, and says that bearing things will weaken you. And this is something Majin Vegeta was actually struggling with as well. However, Vegeta finds himself as the correct one in the story and in real life, pointing out that his pride and his promise here is genuine. He genuinely wants to help others and himself, whereas Toppo doesn't really care about anything he talks about. He only cares about a superficial result and a fleeting strength to survive in the moment. Vegeta overpowers Toppo, and the anime even recollects the final explosion scene as Vegeta charges up a new one. But now realizing that his life and those around him matter, his final explosion is perfected, and he destroys the destructive power of the gods, and a big regret in his later years. Even Jiren, who is the concept of strength at the moment, acknowledges Vegeta a lot for this, and Jiren actually remarks on the sentiment of now throwing away all he is during his fight against Ultra Instinct Goku, while Vegeta remarks that Jiren not trying until his friends lose will be his big mistake. This is a very real-world problem people have, where when they feel like they're struggling in life, they may feel like they need to disconnect or throw everything and everyone they know away if they feel like they're holding them back. And in Vegeta's case, he finds it more empowering to then try to find a way to help everyone around him, and the type of strength that would require to have all of those connections, and how they empower him to do something completely different that you can't achieve when you throw everything away. Weirdly, during this point, Vegeta might actually be a bit stronger than Goku, with Jiren really only complimenting him, with all of episode 128 basically being Vegeta as the main character, getting beat down over and over again and getting up like he's Rocky, while Goku can't even move. Vegeta then cries like on Namek, gives his power to Goku, and he wants Goku to prove Jiren wrong with the strongest power, the power of trust. And with that, the tournament power closes as we move on to his next regret in the Moro arc.
Now we get on to pure
The
manga
Moro
stuff.
arc is a very Vegeta-centered arc, all things considered.
Oh yeah, very.
It is a revisit to one of Vegeta's first regrets in the series as what we can call a free man. After his defeat on Earth, we spoke earlier about how he was liberated and how he wished to defeat his monster. However, in his rebellion, he ended up committing many hypocritical evils. While he's supposed to be rebelling against Frieza, getting away from Frieza, he still did many things just like Frieza would. His slaughter of the Namekians and the weak in his way, it's one of his biggest regrets. While obviously he doesn't approve of his old life in Frieza's army, the Namekians are a particularly nasty sin in Vegeta's chest, as this is when he was supposed to be different and getting away from his monster, not becoming it. So during this arc, Vegeta's desires to atone cause him to overcompensate, to the point that his heroics and desires exceed Goku's by far. While Goku does good things slightly consciously, slightly not, Vegeta has absolutely no hesitation when it comes to doing the right things by the Namekians, causing him to immediately save them when they're in harm's way, trying to find ways to restore them from Moro and much more before Goku even can. This causes Vegeta to far exceed Goku as a fighter, giving him a plethora of abilities that are way more useful than just powering up.
Yeah, this is where we see like how Vegeta really closing the gap.
Controls his spirit, looks deep within it, what he's done, and how he wants to find the strength to help others, and learns even more about this than Goku did back on Yardrap, finding the ability to discern the souls of others, picking them apart, restoring them, and saving them. In fact, when Vegeta does this for the first time against Moro, he even calls it liberating them, something that he felt when he was on Namek, but didn't do. He can teleport and can finally put things like Zamasu, Cell, and Boo down on his own, even if they're fused together if it came down to it, by simply splitting them apart and then helping the other victims involved. Something Goku can't even do. Goku is even forced to concede he is just inferior to Vegeta as a fighter at this point, despite not even being physically weaker with Ultra Instinct Sign and so forth. Vegeta comments on Vegeta's desires a lot, and it causes Goku to reflect heavily on who he is, and to really put on that Superman cape type role after the death of Mirrors and unlock his Ultra Instinct by himself. Funny enough, you'll notice Vegeta doesn't get the kill on Moro, just like with Golden Frieza, and it's pretty much the same fashion once again. This is because of what Moro brings up that causes Vegeta to hesitate once again. Vegeta still believes his past makes him a terrible person, deserving of a bad ending and bad things. And Moro actually uses this to empower himself and defeat Vegeta, which is something Vegeta will have to confront once and for all in the next arc.
Definitely.
It's a great arc for both of them, and I have a whole video dedicated to Goku's part here.
Yeah, that's
Vegeta
actually, that foreshadowing,
yep. And Vegeta, after his atonement, is very humble and gracious to people that help him, like the Yardrats, and he actually even smiles for Goku's mentor, Mirrors, coming back to life.
That's just a fire panel.
It's a very cute panel when you actually look close at it.
Yeah.
Very sweet moment, and
that's
I hope
actually
it's all
so fire.
animated correctly. The final regret is the confrontation with the very, very archaic past when he was controlled by Frieza, and this is emphasized with Granola, a survivor of the Saiyan onslaught. For the first time, Vegeta genuinely acknowledges how people feel about him, and even wants to help Granola get over everything the Saiyans did to him, which lets Vegeta even surpass Goku and become the strongest in the universe, undisputed for the first time, as Granola has to evolve beyond Ultra Ego Vegeta, who trains with Beerus, meaning Vegeta surpasses Goku's and even Broly's max powers 100% by this point. But Vegeta isn't actually satisfied with that, as Vegeta only reaches the state of being the strongest in the series and in the universe after not only acknowledging his past and how what the Saiyans did is nothing to actually be proud of, but acknowledging what the strongest is. For his entire life, it's been this big ordeal, something he has to have, something he has to overcome, and now Vegeta finally chops it up for what it really is. It's just a title. One that can be changed as quickly as tomorrow.
Facts.
And after overcoming this final trauma and his past, by seeing Bardock and his desire for freedom even during the past, Vegeta finally becomes the strongest. And just like he says, it's something that quickly changes back and forth. Later, we see Vegeta reflect on Jiren's mastery as a fighter, as they are quite similar during the Tournament of Power, and he learns to respect the strength of others and what they're good at without mimicking their bad qualities. And this lets him beat Goku in a straight 1v1 of hands for the first time in a genuine contest in his own mind. Ultra Ego was a good example of that surface level pride and ego versus what's underneath the surface. As at the end of the day, it's not who he actually is. There's something even greater than that ego, something more true to what he is and will be, and it's what
It's
will
such a
let
fucking
him
fire
overcome his
video.
final rematches against Frieza and
Yeah,
Beerus
yo,
once
this
and
Black
for
Frieza
all
arc's gonna
at
be
the end.
fucking amazing. That's it. Yo, Seth, WV, bro. Yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I know I haven't posted in a while, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction video, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.